Hi, I'm Dylan Richards. In New York, we have the United Nations and the best food from all over the world. Follow me as I search for the healthiest food in the 5 boroughs on Dylan's Lunchbox.
More crunch.
Very soon.
We're going to talk about your slices.
Juices of the orange is going to start to come out of it.
Flagship cheese.
Here's your burger.
Slide the opposite leg.
I'm Tanya Sokobat for Dylan's Lunchbox.
And how you got into organic farming?
About American cuisine.
Who doesn't love Italian food? Chinese food is one of the oldest cuisines in the world.
We're here to find out what's in your lunchbox.
Welcome to Dylan's Lunchbox. I'm your host, Dylan Richards. This season has been all about eating healthy, making more nutritious choices, and picking foods that are better for the environment. So on today's episode, we're going to take it a step further by looking at specialty diets like gluten-free, dairy-free, and raw food diets. I'll also be checking out a great local restaurant featuring a vegetarian gluten-free menu and finding out how to make some healthy recipes. So come on, let's check out this week's episode.
Well, Blue Hill, New York sources our food as locally, seasonally, and sustainably as possible. We are able to go to the farmer's market, we see what's in season, what's available that day, we bring it back to the restaurant, and then are able to share that with our cooks. Blue Hill, New York shops at the Green Market 4 days per week, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday. We find that buying locally and seasonally is one of the keys to eating. Local food is delicious, and more often than not, it's picked in its prime. So it's food less traveled and ready to eat as it's harvested. It's not hard to source seasonally or locally. It's something that is easy for people to achieve, whether you're in a restaurant or shopping for home. It just takes a little bit of extra time. Been able to create or develop relationships with farmers, and we now consider them to be our friends.
The Norwich Meadows farm is located in Norwich, New York, which is about 200 miles northwest of New York City. Norwich Meadows farm was started in 1998, and we've been organic from day one. We produce on approximately 80 acres very intensively, with 5 acres of high tunnels. High tunnels are unheated greenhouses. President Obama had basically given money through FSA to actually experiment with these to help farmers do things differently. And the high tunnels has basically been the difference between us staying in business and not. It allows us to grow things early and late, and it also protects the crops from our northeast weather, a lot of rain and so on. We had melons about 3 weeks early because most of them are in the high tunnels. And we can only do that with that type of a technology.
When we shop locally and seasonally, the produce is picked at its prime. It's brought in from, let's say, New Jersey with Zed or upstate New York. It's harvested on a Sunday, brought down on a Monday, and then we're cooking it at the restaurant that day.
We kind of started picking up on the whole restaurant movement, and they also wanted to buy local, so now a significant portion of our business here is restaurants.
I normally get here about 9:30 on a Monday morning. I do call some of our orders in ahead of time. It saves us time with collecting and gathering, but it also gives me the opportunity to also kind of handpick some items as well. This time of year, lots of tomatoes, lots of beans, corn, so that I know that we are buying, but I can also walk through Zed's stand and find other items that are surprising. So Zaid is kind enough to allow us to call ahead some orders, so that can be set aside, saving us some time, but there are a few small items that we're going to pick up right now. So some of these items, the small zucchinis, we'll actually serve raw at the restaurant. We'll just slice very thin on a mandolin, season with some lemon juice, lemon vinaigrette, salt, pepper, and serve as is. So unlike the grocery store, these are slightly blemished, but that does not mean that they're bad in any way. Beautiful peppers, nice and dense, very, very heavy. Something that's sourced locally. I mean, it's harvested from the field probably right after watering, or maybe 3 hours after watering, so it has that moisture, but it has that flavor, the acidity, the sweetness that you should expect in a pepper. What kind of potatoes do we have?
We have fingerlings, we have Yukon Golds, we have French fingerlings.
Are these the French fingerlings here?
Yes, sir.
Yeah? What about these beets here? What are these?
These are a Farono. They're an heirloom beet from Italy. We started growing those at the request of actually one of the restaurants. Grandma, some like those beets.
Okay.
So that's why we grow them. Plus they have a nice flavor to them.
At Blue Hill, we truly feel that these are the best, the best melons available locally and probably anywhere. Definitely in the top 3 fruits of the Hudson Valley and of New York State.
Charente or Chalon, as they call them in France, or Cavagnon. They're a French melon. They're very famous, especially in France. In fact, the latest craze with these things is to make something you put on your face, and women love it.
Oh, wow.
It's supposed to be very, very good for your skin.
They have a presence in any room or any dish that you put them in. So what do we have?
I try to grow the varieties that I personally like. The green heirloom tomatoes have a very complex flavor as well, especially the ones that are bicolor. Any of the bicolor tomatoes have a traditional tomato flavor plus a sweet flavor because of the lighter color ones are sweet. And we even grow, bicolor paste tomatoes. I grow the black tomatoes, the green tomatoes, as you can see a lot of the bicolors just because they have the most nice flavor out of all the heirlooms.
Eating seasonally and locally is delicious, and many people believe the best way to eat. Everything does have a season. People need to be more aware of where the food is coming from and focusing more on the flavor and the locality of the ingredient. When you know that source, you're also supporting local agriculture as well as the local economy.
I'm back with Gwen Lawrence, a celebrity yoga instructor. What are we doing?
Are you sick of me yet?
Not yet.
All right.
I can use a little more yoga.
All right,
Can
so we're
never
gonna
have
come
enough.
down onto your belly, all the way down onto your belly. We're gonna do a face down shoulder stretch today.
Okay.
A little bit complicated getting into it, but I think you're really gonna like it. You're gonna bring your arm out to the side, and now you want your middle finger to be pretty much in line with your eyes. So don't let it be too far down, slide it up a little bit more. Good. Now you're gonna look over your other shoulder, and you're gonna bend your left elbow, put your left palm right under your shoulder like a push-up. And you're gonna bend your left knee, and you're gonna start to slowly roll over until your left foot can touch the floor, left knee bent. And in time with practice, both knees bent, both feet flat, and your butt will be flat to the floor. Okay, so hold it there. Good, you're really good at this. So relax your head. This is a good one. It's multi-stretching here. We got anterior deltoid, we got the front of your chest. It's gonna help with your throwing motion. It also helps with posture. A lot of people are at the computer all day or at your desk all day, so they start to get this forward bending posture, and this counteracts that. Helps you increase your lung capacity and oxygenation, and it's also an amazing spinal twist, as you can see here. And you can go one step further. You're gonna bring your left arm up to the sky, nice and high. You're gonna bring it around behind and interlace those fingers. That's so good. Press your chest through and just relax. So this is a good one to hold, like 2 minutes. Obviously, your dominant arm is gonna be a little bit harder to stretch, but a good one to relax into. You could even put a sandbag here. If you have had any recent shoulder surgery, you might wanna consult your doctor first, but a really good stretch to do for chest, shoulder, and nice spinal twist.
Feels great.
Good. We're gonna open up the forearms and wrist.
All right.
It's important whether you're an athlete or not. An athlete, it'll help with your speed of your bat if you're a baseball player. Also, if you fall on the field, if you could support your fall, you're gonna help.
Rather
not
than
devastating.
breaking
Exactly.
wrist or something.
So some people, just being right here, 90-degree angle in the wrist right under your shoulder is hard enough. But if you can, you're gonna try and turn the wrist around 180 degrees. You wanna have equal space between each finger, and you wanna make sure that the wrist still is 90-degree angle. Then push the ground away. So you don't wanna collapse into it, you wanna really extend. And if that feels okay, you could start to lean back a little bit. The minute your wrists start to peel off the ground, then you're just gonna stick there. and hold this about a minute or so. Try to lengthen the fingers a little bit. And a real advanced version of this would be to go back into your plank pose. Now you're gonna get some quads, abs out of it.
Right.
It's a tough one, right? And then let it go. Come out of it nice and easy. Turn one wrist around, other wrist around, sit back, and maybe you just wanna do some circle rolls, but that's gonna give you a tremendous amount of opening in that wrist joint and forearms as well.
Did you know that about 10% of the general population has gluten sensitivity? For millions of Americans, this means they may suffer allergic reactions to wheat and foods made from wheat. This includes breads, pastas, beer, and some baked goods. But many restaurants offer gluten-free options by either substituting wheat or offering unique twists on conventional fare. Some restaurants even specialize in gluten-free dining, using the limitation to create new and interesting dishes you might not find at conventional restaurants.
Stone Barns is a not-for-profit organization that supports sustainable agriculture and the education of that. We are an 88-acre piece of property set within about 2,000 acres of park preserves. We're about 2 miles from the Hudson River in a very beautiful part of the Hudson River Valley. And the driving force for this organization is to train the youngest and the new farmers and the facilitators, those people that are the food citizens of the future here. Many people that work with me here that come on as apprentices are from the metropolitan area. Education creates evolution in a very positive way in agriculture. The focus group that we really wanted to be tuning into was children's education, because children don't really understand where their food are coming from because they're disassociated from this type of environment. Reality is food is made from the earth. It's something that we're creating. This is a living system that needs to be cared for a lot like we care for ourselves. This field that we're standing in right here has basically been split up into about 14 pieces. There are 2 pieces per rotation and a 7-year crop rotation. Each one of these rotations has a different family of crops. So there's nightshades, tomatoes, peppers and eggplants, beets, spinach and Swiss chard. There's alums like the leeks and onions and garlic. There are winter squash and summer squash sections, corn, string beans and peas, cauliflowers and broccolis and kales and kohlrabis and cabbages. One of the reasons for doing this kind of rotation is one that I have a market farm to run here. This is a direct marketing type farm, whether we sell to restaurants or public or however. This kind of model requires a lot of diversity to encourage buyers. But also it requires a lot of diversity for sake of quality of the ground. When you know in a year there may be difficult weather in one way or another, there's a kind of a contingency plan by having lots of different varieties, especially when we're really not spraying any chemicals, organic or not. The way we get around that kind of idea is by keeping the soil very healthy. The rotation allows us many years before that same vegetable goes back into that same spot. That would allow for plenty of time if there were a pathogen or an insect, that in that time, all the other biological activity that was happening in the soil would have pretty well negated any problem. And having a cover crop, which is basically plants that we plant just for the soil. The soil is really what we need to be caring for in this space, because really the plants are kind of secondary to this operation. The plants are indicators of all the health, but they need to have a place that's protected and balanced and continually rejuvenated. We have learned through science in the past 150 years all kinds of little tricks and things to get more out of a space without actually giving back. The truth now is that we've really done a number on the land, and that's not something that can last. The earth is only so productive, and it can only give so much before there's just not enough earth. A lot of the decisions that are made in agriculture now are based on its appropriation to a machine. how a machine will fit down a row. And at the same time, the farms themselves are becoming more and more imbalanced. So the need for pesticides and fungicides and things like that are increasing in systems that lose that natural balance. I wouldn't say that the small farm is a replacement now or in the future for larger agriculture, but it certainly needs to have its place. And our big difference between large agriculture and small-scale ecological agriculture is our relationship to our community. The consumers, the citizens that eat from this farm can come here and they can tell me what they like or dislike about what I'm doing. And they can ask me any question they have about what I'm doing. Because this isn't a particularly economic kind of job. It's not something that makes a lot of money for people. So efficiency means everything. Like any consumer good, when we ask for something different, the producer has to relate. If you want to eat something and you demand that that's what you get or you don't buy the other thing, then things change. They have to change, and the way we get to that has to change. But the only way for us to get to that place is for some of us to really ask some deeper questions about what's going on. Do you use chemicals? Is this safe for me to eat right off the plant? Is this harmful for my environment? How does this affect my watershed? And there's so many good questions out there that really go far beyond a certification, which I think will ultimately lead us to more and more enjoyment in what we're doing and how we eat.
Wheat is so cliche. Going gluten-free can have a number of health benefits even for the gluten tolerant. Most gluten-free foods tend to be less greasy and less fatty, which means better heart health. If you are hankering for a starch, rice is a popular substitute. It can be used to replace noodles, fill in for the carb-heavy breads, and more. Or you can try gluten-free bread, which can be made from the ground flour of almonds, rice, corn, and more. And there are many great gluten-free recipes available online, which are heavy on vegetables and other balanced ingredients.
Hi, my name is Sari Stopper, reporting live on the streets of New York during lunch hour. We're here to find out what's in your lunchbox. What exactly are you planning on ordering from this food cart?
2 slices of pizza.
And do you consider that a healthy lunch option?
It's fine with me.
What are you ordering for lunch today?
Regular size pizza. Because I see it's like the best pizza in New York.
And why did you decide to order this?
Convenience.
And what do you normally eat for lunch? Do you ever pack lunch?
It's whatever's available from different vendors on the street or restaurants.
Do you ever pack lunch?
No, not at all.
Why is that?
I can't eat rice 2 times a day. I'm Spanish. So.
Do you ever think about the healthiness of your meals?
Not that much, no.
So where do you usually go for lunch?
We have a cafe at where I work, but today I'm out because the weather's nice, so I decided to get a slice.
And do you ever order anything else, like sodas, snacks, anything else?
Yes, I do.
What types of things do you usually eat during the day?
I like my frappuccinos and stuff like that, yes.
All right, thank you very much. Have a good lunch. So there you have it. We found out today what people are eating in the streets of New York. The good, the bad, and the ugly. Watch out, next we might ask you what's in your lunchbox.
Now it's time for a Dylan's Lunchbox chemistry lesson. This episode is all about gluten, but do you really know what gluten is? Sure, it's in wheat, but so are a lot of other things, so how did it earn its own episode? Gluten is actually a pretty important protein in wheat, and it's responsible for most of its characteristics, like the doughy, chewy elasticity of bread. In fact, bread will rise, then pretty much just fall back down without gluten, which is a core building block for the structure of traditional bread. Think of it like the wool in your sweater, but instead of keeping you warm, it's keeping the bread in shape. I'm here in Park Slope at Sun and Bloom to find out what exactly gluten is and what it takes to be gluten-free. Can you still have tasty food without it? Chef and owner Amy Follett tells me that gluten-free is not only healthier, but it tastes better. Let's go inside and check it out. So what do we have here?
All right, so these are the ingredients for our gluten-free vegan chocolate chip cookies. And I have a flour mixture here. This is a gluten-free flour mixture. There's fava bean flour, garbanzo bean flour, sorghum flour, and potato starch in this mix.
And what's that do to the cookie?
It just gives the cookie the structure that a normal flour would. We don't use eggs, so I'm actually going to make an egg substitute out of flax meal and water. This is actually soy-free, vegan, like butter, and it's just made with vegetable oils. We have organic brown sugar, and organic raw cane sugar, and our vegan chocolate chips. So what we do first is mix in my butter, and then I'm going to put my sugar in. Why don't you grab that sugar and we can just pour it right in for us. And here we go, Dylan. This is vanilla extract.
So how long does the cookie process take?
It can take less than 15 minutes to throw together a batch of cookies. So let's put our egg replacer in.
Okay. And so you mentioned these cookies are gluten-free. What's it mean to be gluten-free?
Well, gluten is actually a protein found in wheat, barley, and rye. It gives it like the elasticity. A lot of people have an allergy to it. I actually personally discovered in my journey of opening Sun and Bloom that I have celiac disease. And the moment I took gluten out of my lifestyle, it really turned around how I feel.
So besides for people who have celiac or are gluten-free, are there health benefits for eating gluten-free?
More people have a sensitivity to gluten that don't realize it. So when you take those agents out that cause that kind of reaction, you just can feel really terrific. So now our flour mixture. So this is a sea salt that we use. And a sea salt is a really awesome product because it just hasn't been stripped of its minerals. 1 cup of chocolate chips. You just want to really mix them through, and once it's all mixed up, we're ready to put them on the pan. We're going to put this in the oven for about 15 minutes.
So what inspired you to open a gluten-free and vegan restaurant?
It really came from searching for just really fresh local food that made me feel good. I decided that Park Slope needed an eatery where I could dine. We make all of our food from scratch. Love is constantly being infused in the food, and it makes a difference.
Having to keep your menu gluten-free and vegan, do you ever feel limited?
I've never felt limited. Vegetables are my favorite thing to cook. And there's just an abundance of vegetables and different fresh foods that we can work with. So it creates space and room to be more creative, I think.
Do you have a lot of customers who aren't gluten-free or vegan?
Actually, I'd say the majority of our customers aren't vegan, and the majority aren't gluten-free. We are attracting more and more people who are discovering we are here, and they're discovering simultaneously that they have gluten intolerances. So I think that more and more people are becoming aware of their gluten intolerance.
And what would you say to the meat lovers who aren't too sure about Sun and Bloom?
I'd say come in and try the Bloom Burger. It's a sprouted sunflower seed patty. It's actually a double patty with basil, caramelized onions, a dill dressing, tomato, and so I try to create everything very accessible to people.
So I think the cookies are almost done. Should we take a look?
I think we should.
I can't wait to try the cookies. They look absolutely delicious.
Well, I think we should go sit down and you should taste the food I prepared for you.
Okay. So we have a ton of food here today. What is all of it?
Okay, well, I have a gluten-free spread here. This is our vegan gluten-free chocolate chip pancake with a caramelized banana. The BLT is actually shiitake bacon, so it's shiitake mushrooms that have been roasted, and they come out with this beautiful bacon flavor. It's amazing. You're going to love it. There's this live raw almond mayonnaise inside of it, raw kale chips. And here we have our pumpkin gluten-free muffin, a carrot cupcake, and a banana chocolate chip cupcake.
And of course the cookies that we made earlier.
And here are the cookies.
And last but definitely not least, the cookies that we made earlier. Sun and Bloom easily proves that you can eat great food no matter what your diet is. Even if you love meat and wheat, you're sure to find something delicious and excellent at this Brooklyn eatery. Thanks again for joining me on another great episode of Dylan's Lunchbox. I hope we have shown you that no matter what the diet, great food is never hard to find. Visit these websites for more info on the places that we've visited and for more healthy tips. I hope you've had as much fun this season as I have. Keep eating healthy, and hopefully we'll see you again on another season of Dylan's Lunchbox.